So, we always love hearing from you. And you sent over some really interesting stuff this week about how AI is really impacting students,
Yeah.
their academic lives. And it's based on the study called The Impact of Artificial Intelligence, AI, on Students' Academic Development
Right.
by Vierio and Petrea.
Uh-huh.
And it came out pretty recently, right?
It did, yeah, just last year in Education Sciences.
Okay, so what's interesting is that this isn't just, another headline about AI. It's actually like looking into real experiences of students.
Exactly. And that's what makes this one really stand out, because it's not just hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's looking at the National University of Science and Technology, Polytechnica, Bucharest.
Okay.
And it's giving us a real tangible sense of, how students are using this technology.
Yeah.
What are they actually seeing? What are the changes happening on the ground?
So our mission is to dive into these findings you shared and really kind of get to the core of, the pros, the cons, the pluses and minuses, the good, the bad, the ugly of how AI is impacting students. I mean, right off the bat, though, the sheer number of students using AI is kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It's huge, right? It's like almost everybody.
Yeah.
95.6% of the students in the study are using AI for their academic work.
Wow.
So you have to wonder, are traditional teaching methods even keeping up with this? This is a huge shift
Right.
in how students are approaching learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how assignments, tests, quizzes, all that needs to change to adapt to this new reality.
Yeah.
And they're not just using one type of AI, right? We're seeing this whole mix of tools.
Yeah, you see a whole variety. Some of the most popular ones are, those virtual assistants we all have in our pockets, ChatGPT, Siri, Google Assistant.
Right.
88.2% of students are using these. And it makes sense because they're so versatile, right? You can ask them anything, process natural language. They're really convenient.
It's like having a little brain,
Right.
extra brain in your pocket.
Right, exactly.
And then we also see, AI-based platforms that are specifically for learning, like Coursera, Duolingo.
Yeah, those are popular too. 42.4% of students are using those.
Yeah.
And they often have, very specific learning goals in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they use AI to personalize a learning path and give feedback.
So it's kind of tailoring the education right to each student.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very interesting. So with all this AI being integrated, what are students saying? I mean, why are they using it so much? What benefits are they actually seeing?
Well, the good news is that students are overwhelmingly positive
Oh, wow.
about the impact of AI on their education. 80% of them said that they believe AI actually enhances their overall educational experience.
That's a pretty big majority.
It is. It's a strong vote of confidence, right?
Right.
And when you dig into what they see as the advantages, some clear themes come out.
Okay.
So, for example, 80% of students said that AI helps them to use their study time more effectively.
Okay.
Gives them quick access to personalized resources. So it's really about efficiency.
Makes them feel like they're working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Yeah. They can get to what they need quickly.
Yeah.
And it's tailored to their specific needs.
Yeah.
And it's not just about feeling more efficient either. 82.4% of students said they believe AI is actually contributing to better academic performance.
Oh, wow.
So think better grades on exams, projects, that kind of thing.
So they're seeing actual results.
Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah.
seeing a real impact. And that kind of perceived success is a big motivator to keep using these tools.
Of course, right. If it's helping you get better grades, you're going to keep using it.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, 83.5% of students said that AI makes their learning more efficient overall
Okay.
because it helps them find information faster and stay organized.
So really a productivity boost.
Yeah, it's all about, working smarter, not harder, but
Right.
it does make you think about the long-term impact.
Right. What about the deep learning, the actual, knowledge retention?
Exactly. Yeah. Are they just becoming really good at using AI, or are they actually learning the material?
Right.
It's a question to consider.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So the study goes even deeper, right? It's not just these big numbers.
Right.
They actually looked into how students feel AI is making a difference in their day-to-day learning.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see, what comes up over and over again in their responses.
Okay.
For example, a lot of students, 42 of them to be exact,
Wow.
specifically mentioned saving time as a major benefit.
Right.
One student said, and I quote, "AI saves time by quickly synthesizing broad topics upon request."
Right.
So in a busy academic schedule, that's a real advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you've got 24 students who said that AI actually helps them understand difficult concepts.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
One of them said, and I quote, "AI helps clarify complex concepts makes material easier to understand, and finds relevant sources for documentation.
So it's like having a personal tutor.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Right,
It breaks things down in a way that's easier to grasp.
Right.
And then you've got another 16 students who really appreciated how AI helps them to organize information.
Oh, that's interesting.
One student said, and I quote, AI organizes and structures information, summarizes content, offers additional resources, and clarifies complex topics.
Wow.
So that's a really valuable skill right there.
It is.
Being able to organize and structure information. And if AI is doing it for them, what does that mean for their own development of that skill?
Right. Are they learning to do it themselves, or are they just relying on the AI?
Exactly.
That's really interesting. So we're seeing these benefits right around efficiency, comprehension, organization.
Yeah.
Students feel like AI is really helpful in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
But like any powerful tool, there are always potential downsides and challenges, and the study definitely gets into that too.
Right.
It's important to look at both sides.
It is.
So what are some of the concerns that students raised about AI?
Well, the biggest one, by far, and this was mentioned by almost half the students,
Wow.
48.2% to be exact, is the concern about getting incorrect or imprecise answers from AI.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It makes sense, right? If you're relying on something for accurate information,
Right.
you need to be able to trust it.
Yeah.
And this study actually includes a quote from a student that really highlights this anxiety.
Okay.
They said, the information is often incorrect and needs to be verified.
Yeah.
I'm frequently unsure if the answers provided are accurate, and I need to cross-check with other sources.
Oh, wow.
So they're already spending extra time double-checking everything the AI tells them.
Right.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of saving time in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we also have a significant number of students, 16.5%, who are worried about the impact of AI on their own critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
And another 16.5% who are concerned about becoming too reliant on AI.
Right.
I mean, these really go hand in hand, don't they?
They do.
It's not just about thinking for yourself in the moment, but also, are these students going to graduate without those essential critical thinking skills that employers are looking for?
Exactly. It's a long-term concern, right?
Right.
What happens when they leave school and they don't have the AI to lean on?
Right.
Will they be able to think for themselves? Will they be able to solve problems independently?
Right.
It's a valid worry, and the study even includes a quote that gets right to the heart of it.
Okay.
One student said, excessive reliance on AI reduces critical thinking and academic independence. I worry that students will become overly dependent on technology, leading to a lack of problem-solving abilities.
That's a pretty big red flag right there.
It is. It's something that educators and policymakers really need to pay attention to.
Right, because we don't want a generation of students who can't think for themselves.
Exactly.
So besides those big concerns, the study also mentioned a few other worries that were raised by smaller numbers of students.
Yeah.
Things like data privacy.
Right.
Which makes sense, when you're using these AI platforms.
Especially these days when everyone's concerned about their data.
Exactly.
So 9.4% of students were worried about that.
And then a small percentage, 3.5%, brought up the issue of ownership. Like, who actually owns the work that's created with AI?
Right.
That's a tricky one.
It is. It's a complicated legal and ethical question that we're still grappling with.
Right.
So as AI becomes more sophisticated, these issues are only going to become more prominent.
Right.
It's something we need to be thinking about now.
So the study also looked at how AI is influencing, the actual learning process.
Yeah.
How students are collaborating with each other.
Yeah.
And the findings here are kind of mixed.
They are. Yeah. It's not a simple black and white picture.
Okay.
A good number of students, 51 of them, actually reported positive impacts.
Okay.
They talked about things like having access to a wider range of resources,
Right.
more personalized learning experiences, and even better communication with their classmates.
Oh, interesting.
One student said, AI helps us improve our relationships with classmates and enhances the learning process. Learning is faster, better structured, and more accessible thanks to AI.
Wow.
So for them, AI is actually a tool that's bringing people together
Right.
and making learning more engaging.
Interesting.
But then on the other side of the coin, you have 15 students who reported negative impacts.
Okay.
And their concerns really echo those earlier worries about critical thinking.
Right.
And also a decrease in human interaction.
All right. So they're not talking to each other as much because they're relying on the AI.
Yeah, exactly. One student said, AI reduces my willingness to ask questions because I rely too much on it. The constant use of AI can lead to dependence, which discourages independent thinking.
So it's like a trade-off, right? The
Yeah,
convenience of AI versus the active engagement in the learning process.
exactly. And then you've got another 15 students who felt that AI had a neutral impact.
Okay.
They saw it as just another tool,
Right.
not something that fundamentally changed how they learned or interacted with each other.
So basically they're using it to supplement their existing learning methods.
Yeah.
It's not taking over their lives.
Right.
Interesting. So with all this, the good and the bad,
Yeah.
what do the students themselves and the researchers behind the study suggest as we move forward with AI in education?
Well, the students had some really insightful recommendations.
Yeah.
They stressed the importance of, you know, integrating AI thoughtfully and strategically into the learning process.
Right. Not just throwing it in there and seeing what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, we need a plan. They also said there should be some limits and controls on the use of AI
Okay.
so that students can still develop those essential critical thinking skills.
Makes sense.
And then, not surprisingly, they also said that the accuracy of AI needs to improve
Right.
because if they can't trust the information, it's not really helpful.
Exactly. So the researchers, Virio and Patria, build on those student perspectives with their own recommendations.
Yeah, they recommended comprehensive training for both educators and students on how to use AI effectively, ethically, and responsibly.
So basically everyone needs to be on the same page.
Right? Everyone needs to understand the potential benefits and risks of AI. They also highlighted the need for clear guidelines and validation processes for how AI is used in education.
Okay, so some kind of framework to make sure it's being used appropriately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they emphasized the importance of addressing ethical concerns, especially around data privacy.
Right.
So we need clear policies in place to protect student data.
Makes sense.
And finally, they underscored the need for more research,
Okay.
ongoing longitudinal research, to really understand the long-term impacts of AI on student learning.
So we're still in the early stages.
We
We need more data to really see how this is all going to play out.
Exactly.
The study even included a quote that really sums up the key findings.
Yeah.
It said, "The findings reveal that AI offers significant benefits, including personalized learning, improved academic outcomes, and enhanced student engagement. However, challenges such as over-reliance on AI, diminished critical thinking skills, data privacy risks, and academic dishonesty were also identified."
It's a great summary, right?
It really captures that tension between the potential benefits and the potential risks of AI in education.
Yeah. It's a balancing act for sure.
So it's important to remember that this study, while valuable, does have some limitations.
Right. It's not the be-all and end-all of AI research. The sample size was relatively small,
Okay.
85 students, and they were all from specific engineering programs,
Okay.
aerospace and medical engineering at one university.
So it might not be generalizable to all students?
Right. It gives us a snapshot of what's happening in that particular context.
Right.
But we need more research to see if those findings hold true for other students in other disciplines.
Makes sense.
The study also acknowledged that they didn't really delve into the impact of AI on things like creativity,
Right.
those higher order thinking skills.
Right.
So that's another area where more research is needed.
Absolutely. So we're at this really interesting crossroads, right? AI is becoming more and more integrated into education.
Yeah, it's happening fast.
Students are seeing real benefits in terms of efficiency, personalization,
Mm-hmm.
but there are also these serious concerns about accuracy over dependence and the potential impact on critical thinking.
Right.
So the big question is, how is this all going to shake out?
And what's the long-term impact going to be?
Exactly.
Are students going to be better off?
Right.
Or are we going to see some unintended negative consequences?
We'll see within the next 2-3 years just how this is truly affecting students, whether they are ultimately benefiting from these powerful tools, or if the potential for misuse and the erosion of key learning skills proves to be the more significant outcome.
Yeah, it's a fascinating question.
What do you think the long-term impact will be?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on how we manage this transition.
Right.
If we're thoughtful about how we integrate AI into education,
Right.
if we focus on developing those critical thinking skills alongside the technical skills,
Yeah.
then I think AI has the potential to be a really powerful tool for learning.
Yeah.
But if we just throw AI at the problem without any guidance or oversight,
Right.
then I think we could see some negative consequences.
Right. It could actually hinder learning rather than help it.
Exactly.
Well, it's definitely something we need to keep our eye on.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds.
It is.
Thank you for sharing these findings with us today.
My pleasure.
It's been a really enlightening conversation.
I agree.
And to all of you listening, thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.